and welcome back to the Star Wars Expanded Universe, never done by Disney or Lucasfilm, Rebellious Slice It, Legends. Today, I finish off literally anything that could either be before, during, or right after uh, episode 4, so that way the next video, everything will be actually after episode 4. Novelization. I don't have too much to add. Uh, Basically, the movie, which you've all seen, there's some additional dialogue. I don't think there's anything of substantial value within the novelization to episode 4, so I say skip it and just watch the actual film. Starting with, we have many short stories to get through today. We have in Adventure Journal number 3, The Changing of Odds. So this is a sequel to the Danon Lifehold or whatever, which was earlier on. And he's, going on, continuing to be a smuggler, trying to do things for the Rebel Alliance, but also be, neutral so he doesn't get in trouble with the Empire. But the catalyst for his change, and this is a catalyst for a lot of characters, is because of Tarkin's doctrine. The doctrine of fear, which entirely backfired upon him. By blowing up Alderaan, he set in stone the thousands upon thousands upon thousands of new recruits that the Rebel Alliance would gain from this. I mean, it also helped that they actually blew up the thing that did that, but this is one of the driving forces that made people finally go, we need to stop the Empire once and for all. So the Alderaan blowing up was the catalyst to make Danon finally decide to stop and officially join the rebellion. In Adventure Journal number 8, we have A Certain Point of View by Charlene Newcomb. I actually really enjoyed this one. This girl, she is for the Empire. She loves the Empire. Her entire family has been a part of the Empire. But her brother, one day she gets a letter from the higher-ups telling him, oh, you have a couple days to grieve. Your brother's been taken away from you. And who killed her brother? Rebels. What's she going to do? She gets more angry. She hates the rebels. But then she finds out about Alderaan blowing up. So now she's conflicted. On the one hand, the Rebel Alliance took a family member away from her. But on the other hand, in her eyes, there's nothing more vile than the act of blowing up an entire planet. What else happens in that story? You gotta read it for yourself. But I thought that one was actually really good. Now I'm gonna mention this. I didn't read it because I couldn't find it anywhere online. But War on the Jumbling Wastes from Star Wars Magazine. Basically, Luke and Obi-Wan go on a small adventure while heading over to the Mos Eisley's Cantina because they can't get a break. Now, we have in the Galaxy Guide number 1, Artu's Tale. Basically, we see things from Artu's perspective on why he kind of bailed on Luke on Tatooine, and then Luke and C-3PO to chase after him, and that's how they end up meeting Obi-Wan Kenobi, basically. Empire comic book issue 13, we see the Battle of Raltair, and we find one of the last remaining clone troopers still alive, who's going around being very faithful and helping the Empire. But by the end of the story, his commander is dying and kind of says his sympathies for the rebellion and why he kind of isn't happy with how the Empire's turning out. And we don't know what happens with that clone trooper, if he switches sides or whatnot, but it was a pretty decent little tale. Now going back to some more Galaxy Guides, we have Galaxy Guide number 1, Tatooine Debriefing. It's like a paragraph. Go ahead and read it. Galaxy Guide number 1, the one that got away. This one's actually really cool. This one's about Jodo Kast. Jodo Kast being the bounty hunter that likes to pretend he's Boba Fett. I believe there's a comic down the line called Twin Engines of Destruction. Well, Jodo Kast will pay for impersonating one of the most dangerous bounty hunters of all time. But in this little short story, like literally, it's like a paragraph or two. He's looking for Dr. Evison, you know, the guy with the pig nose in episode 4 that says, "He don't like you either." And he's trying to look for him, but dang it, he escapes, and so he doesn't get his prey. And that's pretty much it. We've got, in the Galaxy Guy, we have Dodonna's story. This one's pretty decent. I don't have too much to add to it, but it's there. And also in the Galaxy Guy, we get a letter home. This is just something that one of the rebels had tried to say to their parents right before the Death Star battle. And it's a touching little thing. And then Life in a Jawa Sandcrawler is the next one in the Galaxy Guy. And I don't have too much to say about that one either, but it's there. Then going back to the adventure journals, we have Adventure Journal number 13, Droid Trouble. The troubles on occupation of Raulamoli or whatever. It's just an occupation of a planet, basically, without getting into spoilers about that. In Adventure Journal number 6, To Fight Another Day by Kathy Tyers, I believe introduces characters that were, or reintroduces characters that have shown up before, and it's just rebels doing some stuff. It's pretty decent. And it's Kathy Tyers, which is awesome. Small Favors in Adventure Journal number 12. We follow, the story is that the rebels are trying to get a rescue mission for Rivach Tarkin, the niece of Grand Moff Tarkin, because she's a rebel sympathizer, which is kind of crazy. You know, you think Tarkin, you think everybody's like that, but not her. She wants to rebel. She does not agree with the policies, so they're trying to save her in that story, basically. Also, again, in the Galaxy magazine number 10, we have Sandbound on Tatooine. I also don't have anything to add because I didn't read this one, but that this is where it would be chronologically. The last thing I have to talk about is the Droids comics from the 80s, issues 6 to 8, which are basically just a retelling of episode 4, but from the droids' perspective. They're fun little things. Nothing necessary to your grand exploration through the expanded universe. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. As we move, it's 12 a.m. in the morning, but I had to finish. We've reached the Rebellion era. I need sleepovers, but we reached the Rebellion era. Officially. We're after episode 4. So I just have a couple things to talk to you about, and then I'll let you go on your way. And next week, we will have, either next week or next video, whatever, we will have the Marvel comic book run. The original Marvel run. Talk about. So that'll be fun. But, starting with, I just wanted to mention something. I mentioned this, I think, before, but Han Solo, Rebel Dawn, to episode 4. I just want to quickly mention episode 4 of the movie, because I still think I like 3 a little bit more than 4. Now, I know 4 is an objectively better film. I watched it, more of analysis mode. It's a wonderful film. Is it perfect? No. But it has way less flaws than 3. The only reason, and I want to mention, when I say that, like, I like it more, it's like that. But it's only because of what episode 3 means to the rest of the franchise, to the rest of the universe. In terms of what it did for lore and expanding upon things. And how I personally feel about it, right? A lot of people don't like the prequels. but it affects me personally when I watch it. I grew up with it. It makes me feel emotions, not just because of John Williams, music, but because I think it is a good film. Definitely not as good as 4, at least technically speaking, with like acting and stuff across the board. I think just the fact that we have Sir Alec McGuinness alone, and everything he does and every scene that he's in, and he's not in the movie a lot. He shows up, does some stuff with Luke, dies. But there's so much subtlety in his face, in his movement, so much history behind the things he says in his hut, even before the prequels came out. And just props to Sir Alec McGuinness for making this world seem believable. But the thing I wanted to mention was that, obviously, when you're critiquing a film, you don't bring up the EU. So I'm not talking about the film necessarily, but I do want to say it's interesting if you take the EU into account and you read the A.C. Crispin on Solo trilogy. In Rebel Dawn, the kid that wanted to be him, or wanted to be a part of his family, lied about being a Solo, dies in that last book. So I wondered, I thought about it while watching it. Does he think about that kid when he looks at Luke? Does that in some small way shape his opinion into making him come back and help Luke stop the Death Star? I don't know. But it was wonderful to think about. Moving forward, we go back to Star Wars Empire, issue 14. Vader's still in his, ship after the events of episode 4. He crash lands on a planet, beats up some wildlife, gets in tune with nature, finds the Imperial outpost, and heads back home, basically. Then we're doing some deep dives in EU, like you have to be a fan. We're getting to Star Wars Weekly. Yeah, these are some old comics from back in the day. Now you can find these in the Wild Space Omnibus, Volume 1. But we have the day after the Death Star. The wonderful thing about this is it is actually a Young Jedi Knights connection, because Kevin J. Anderson read these comics. Basically, the Heroes of One. It's still like the Heroes of One, and Luke just goes out to fly in his X-Wing for a bit, but ends up coming across a TIE fighter. They land back on Yavin, they fight, fisticuffs and all, only to find out that this Imperial is the same age, or, just a young kid, just like Luke. And so he lets him go. But apparently they never checked up on him and let him just rot to death in this jungle because he survives. And he would survive for the next 20 years until Jason and Jaina would come to meet him yet again. But Kevin J. Anderson didn't have to do that, but he did. And I love that connection. It's awesome. Also, we have issue 0. Live a day, or like literally a day or two after the movie. Luke and Leia go on a mission to this jungle planet. Stuff happens. Luke and Leia, soon after that, go to a snowy planet that's not Hoth, and they take care of that. They're very decent little stories. But it's just crazy that this has all happened within the span of like a day or two. Like, these people have not had a break. And then I want to mention some children's books. We have Star Wars Maverick Moon. Now, Matt Wilkins speaks praises about this little children's story. It's really weird to me. So Luke went to this academy to teach people to fly, or I'm not really sure. I don't really know why Luke is there when there's a war to defeat, but he's there, and the story itself is for children, so I'm not gonna bash it too hard. But I really don't know why it was made in the time period that it's supposed to take place in. I don't know if I buy that. And the other one is the mystery of the Rebellious robot. This is also one of the children's books. It's fine. I don't have too much to add upon that. Lastly, we make it to Star Wars Missions, books 1 through 4, by Ryder Wynnum. Oh, sorry. First book is called Assault on Yavin. Second book is called Escape from Thifera. Book 3 is called Attack on Draken, and 4 is Destroy the Liquidators. Basically, Imperials are wondering, like, yo, why hasn't Tarkin asked for us yet? So it becomes this whole thing about, trying to make sure they don't find out about the base and stopping them. It's cool, though, because they deal with this backdoor situation in these books. And because of that, they go to Thifera, which was already established in the X-Wing books, because this came out after. But it was a really nice connection. Another caveat is, if you're going to read these are meant to be like role-playing games for like kids or teenagers. So there's a lot of these sections where it's like, you do this, you do that. And it's kind of annoying. But there is a short story within each of these if you pay attention. But it is, a little bit annoying having to see, like, oh, roll your attack point to see what you do and stuff. It's like, if I want to play Dungeons and Dragons, I would have played it. But, it is what it is. Anyway, guys, that's pretty much it. This one's kind of short. Don't have too much to say. But as we move forward, we move into the Marvel Comics. So, so sorry. I hope you'll stick around for that. Until next time, guys, may the Force be with you.